I know I'm looking a bit scuzzy. I have been sanding. I could have sawdust up my nose. Sorry if that's a view you're getting. But now that I think about it, that's actually a good segue into what I wanted to talk about. Imprisonment, freedom, free will. And I'm not talking about imprisonment in an official facility necessarily, although that kind of can fit in. But I'm talking more about the prisons that we put ourselves in. And me always apologizing for how I look is a very good example of a prison I am in and have been for my entire life. So, freedom, just the opposite of imprisonment, right? And then there is free will. Probably no accident that the two start in the same way. And yet, free will cannot get us out of every prison. If we were talking a real prison, we don't have free will. We can't just say, okay, I learned my lesson, I'm ready to get out now. We have certain conditions that we have to meet before we are released from that kind of prison. If we are imprisoned by bodies, that is something that free will isn't going to get us out of either. We can't exercise free will to make it as if we snapped our fingers and we are no longer imprisoned by bodies that don't work. We can't just wave a magic wand and make it so nothing is wrong with us, nothing hurts. Everything functions as it should. There are limitations to free will. But where we can exercise free will is how we think about situations. So in a real prison, we have free will to decide, I am going to use this time in the most valuable, productive ways I can think of. I'm going to learn, I'm going to grow, I'm going to transform, so that when I get out, I will be a different person. I will never be back here, and I will do good in the world. Or we could use our free will to decide, you know what, I shouldn't be here. That's Billy Bob's fault that I ended up here, and by God, when I get out of here, I'm going to get even with Billy Bob. You know, just the opposite approach. I'm not going to learn, I'm not going to grow, I'm going to think about how I can get revenge. And then revenge leads me to the other kinds of prisons that we can make for ourselves. When bad things happen, we can use our free will to, again, think about revenge, vengeance, how victimized we were, how we will never be the same or who we would have wished we could be because of that son of a bitch that did that. And we can spend all of our time hating, resenting, being depressed. Not what most people would say is productive, but you know, that's a very common thing, though people don't think of it as self-imposed prisons. But if we are allowing our lives to be impacted by that kind of negativity in a place of bitterness, anger, no, maybe we couldn't use our free will to avoid whatever bad thing happened to us, but we can use our free will to decide we aren't going to continue to let it destroy us. We could use our free will then to forgive, which I've said a million times. Forgiveness is not ever saying that what the person did was okay. Forgiveness doesn't have to mean that we're going to let them continue to be in our life. Forgiveness is for us so we can quit carrying that shit around. That self-imposed imprisonment. So it may seem, when people talk about all of us having free will, that it's useless because we can't change circumstances just because we will it to be so. But we can use our free will to decide how we are going to let it continue to impact us. You know, another prison is thinking that we have to be a certain way, lifestyle or job or path of study that will be pleasing to our parents or friends or spouse, whoever it might be. Having to live as someone that we are not is also a prison. And we're going to be in that prison until we decide that it's more important to allow ourselves to be authentic than to keep other people happy. Me, I'm imprisoned by my thoughts. Often in my twin flame situation, I have literally said, I believe, I feel like I'm in fucking prison. Because even though my person has chosen not to have anything to do with me, I have not been able to get this man off my mind as someone that is supposed to be significant in my life. The fact that I can see that the things that have happened have come from our wounding, and that we won't always be this way if we choose to heal, has been a good thing, yes, but also has kept me imprisoned because it hasn't made me think, fuck this, I'm out of here. And as the years have gone by, I realized that by choosing this path with my free will, that has kept me in prison. But see, most of these prisons, we have the keys to the locks. I can't say I'm a victim in the twin flame situation or in the how I look situation. Maybe initially it came from my mother. Maybe some of the actions came from another person. But how I let their actions, their words impact me is all about my free will to look at things in this way or that way. So I guess I'm just urging you, if you feel like you are imprisoned, to look at it in this way. We can control how we allow it to affect us and how long we allow it to affect us. We may have wounds that make us want to keep people happy in our lives, and that's what we've always done, but that doesn't mean that we can't use our free will to bust out of that prison and say, no more. I played along for this long, but I don't think I want to play this game anymore. Where's that lock? Here's the key. Click. I am setting myself free. Everyone has a right to see themselves as a victim and as powerless if that's what they choose. I just wanted to suggest that we all can choose differently. We can free ourselves from mental prisons.